of the situation are ironed out. Now, I have to say our next guest caused a lot of reaction this morning. He was our second guest on the show this morning. He's Anthony Connolly, who was a couple of weeks ago you were crowned Mr. Riverstown, Anthony, wasn't that?
That's correct.
That's correct. And you came on this morning on the radio saying that you were hoping to put together a campaign to outlaw head shops and have them removed. And I have to say, we've had a huge response to what you had to say this morning, Anthony. Some good and some bad, and you heard some critical comments before 11 o'clock, and you wanted to respond to what that person had to say.
Indeed, I do. Like I'm like, as I said to you, like I was democratically elected for Mr. Riverstown. Like people might say it was a charity show or a comedy show, whatever it was. It was a fundraiser for Little Buddy's childcare centre in Riverstown. I never said it was going to be a politician or anything else, but as far as I was concerned, it was a bit of fun at the same time. I went up. There's nine other lads thing. I won it hands down as far as I was concerned, and everybody in Riverstown will tell you the same thing. But at the end of the day, like when I got the reaction of these head shops in Sligo and in the general area, I was very upset because I'd be completely against it. And like, I'm not saying that I'm like I know much about them. I know a fair bit about them. I do know a fair bit about them. Like, I'm not going to go in the air and say what exactly what I know about them or what I don't know about them, but I do know a fair bit about them. And like at the end of the day, like I'm completely against it because the simple reason, like, it can't be good for the if they were good, why isn't the chemists in Sligo and the GPs in Sligo, why aren't they prescribing them so if they're okay? I mean, like, I'm not blaming anybody, but at the end of the day, like, I know people can say they're trying to make a living or whatever, like, but it doesn't make sense to me because, like, if in that case, as I said earlier on, like, the government is there, like, they're bailing out banks and bailing out everybody else, like, why isn't there something done about it? Like, because, like, it doesn't make sense. It's kind of rotating. It's like a conveyor belt. It's going back round and round, like, and it's not making sense as such, like, you know, because
well, you're quite entitled to speak about, no matter who you are. You don't have to be Mr. Riverstown or anybody else to speak about head shops. And some people saying, you know, who do you think you are speaking? I mean, you're quite entitled as a citizen to say what
exactly.
You want.
Like, I'm a free deer person. Like, anybody can talk. Like, there's no problem there. Like, it's not because of who I am or because I was because people might call it a comedy show or whatever else. As far as I'm concerned, I went into the competition and I won it. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm entitled to my opinion.
All right. I just showed you the range. You heard some of the range of comments coming in regarding Anthony and the head shops. He doesn't seem to make much sense of what he's saying. Is there anyone of a higher ranking that could come on and start a proper campaign? Mr. Riverstown was just a fundraiser, he said. On the subject of Mr. Riverstown, says someone else, fair play to Anthony for trying to make a stand. The listener that gave the rude comment about him is typical of the Irish community and won't do anything, only give about it someone who will try. It's a small town mentality. Someone else says Anthony shouldn't be let on the radio to represent Riverstown again. He's about as high profile as my neighbour's dog. That's the one you just heard. Yeah. And someone else says that, just to comment on Anthony, that's starting a campaign against head shops, don't think he's going to stand up too much when he can stand up to a few comments from listeners. Well, you can stand up to comments from listeners.
I can, no problem. I have no problem standing up to comments from listeners. Absolutely no problem whatsoever. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, everybody's entitled to their opinion, just like I'm entitled to my opinion. But at the end of the day, like, if them people, if they're so nice about it, like, if they want to say what they want to say about me, why don't they release their name on the radio? Like, if I'm giving my name,
good point.
So why can't they release their name? Like, I have no problem.
If the texters,
if
they want to really leave their name, there's no problem.
Like, if they leave their name, whatever. Like, I mean, I'm sure that, like, the studio here wouldn't mind taking their name, whatever. Like, and I have no problem. Like, I can face them face to face.
And other people say, in fairness to you, saying fair play to you for standing up and making a stand and speaking out because nobody else, including the politicians, are prepared to do so.
Well, like, again, with the thing with the politicians, like, I mean, like, if it takes back on politicians to make sure that there is no actual head shops in Riverstown, like, the last thing I want to see is a head shop arriving in Riverstown or arriving in any of the small areas, because it is a small area. It's a nice little village. Like, we have a good committee of tidy towns and everything that's behind us. We've got two good county councillors in the village. I mean, like, I have no problem. Like, they're two very good workers. And, like, at the end of the day, like, it's very important to try and keep the village tidy and clean and make sure everything is 100%. And as far as I'm concerned, like, at the end of the day, like, it's just gone that way. That it, like, whoever these persons are negative, they're entitled to their opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion, and as far as I'm concerned, like, I don't really care, because at the end of the day, like, I'm going to voice my opinion, and if I can do anything, I'll do my level best to do my best, and that's all I can do.
I think most people would compliment you for doing that. Tommy McKenna and family have rang in to say fair play to Anthony. Yeah. So there are a lot of people. Well, tell
Tommy, I said thanks very much. Like, you know, because at the end of the day, like, I can completely against it. I like, people can say all they want, like, but you know, I think it's an absolute, like, people are entitled to their opinions, but, like, you know, it's like, the small-minded people of the village, and I'm not going to name. I don't know who it is, but I have a fair idea where it's coming from.
Okay. Well, we won't even go to. But the campaign is going to get underway.
Oh, definitely, absolutely. Like, I'm 100% if I could get if I get the backing, say from the local county council, whoever wants to back me, I have no problem with that. I'll go anywhere. I'm told to go. I'll go anywhere. Like, I have no problem with that. Like, I'll go anywhere at all.
Good luck with that, Anthony, and thanks for coming in and clarifying that. And hopefully we'll talk to you soon when the campaign is more organised. Thanks a lot, Anthony. It's Anthony Connolly, Mr. Riverstown. We'll be back with Gabriel McSherry, our medical nutritionist, after a short break.
Ocean FM. This show is a repeat. Please do not text the numbers that are being read out, as they will not be aired. However, you will be charged. Northwest Today, so good we play it twice. Ocean F.
It's left on the programme just to round up the bips and bobs and so forth and comments, and a lot of support for Anthony from Riverstown, I have to say. There's a huge reaction to Anthony, some good, some bad. He'll be going for Mr. World next now, never mind Mr. Riverstown with all the comments. Yeah. Just on the subject of Mr. Riverstown, fair play to him for trying to make a stand. The listener that gave the rude comments about him is typical of the Irish community and won't do anything, only give out about someone who will try. Small town mind, that somebody says there. Somebody saying, get that clown back on the radio and take calls. That man is a joke to Riverstown. Just to comment on that man that's starting a campaign against head shops, of course, that's Anthony. Don't think he's going to stand up to much when he can't stand up to a few comments from listeners. And in his defence, fair play to him, he came back in here when he heard the comments, and he did reply to them. So in fairness to him, good man, Anthony. Fair play to Anthony. Great to see an ordinary person talking out against head shops. Somebody saying Anthony could be the new John Perry, so a lot of people saying that. What's Anthony's first step to get a campaign going? Brendan wants to know. Well done to Anthony. He's shown huge commitment by being Mr. Riverstown and taking a stand against head shops. That comes from Martin Baker. Well done to Anthony from Declan and all in Brush. Fair play. Probably Brush, I'd say. I was thinking that. Well, maybe not. B-R-U-S-H. It's here in the text. Like. Okay, right. What would Bruss be? B-R-O-S, is it? B-R-U-S-S. But maybe there is a place called Brush. I don't know. It's like the comb, is it? Fair play to Anthony for taking a stand. We are right behind him. It's great that he's taking a stand against these head shops. That comes from Vinny, Michael and Frank. Somebody else was wondering, has Anthony any date set for his protest? He would have the backing of many people. He spent more time talking about winning Mr. Riverstown than he said what he was planning to do. The listener was wondering, would he have many backing from people, because he seemed to spend a lot of time talking about Mr. Riverstown than telling us what his plans were. But I think it kind of started off just saying that he was Mr. Riverstown and he wanted to make a stand against head shops, and then it just kind of has blown into all this thing. People agreeing with him, people not agreeing with him, you know. So fair play to him anyway, I think, for coming back in and answering some of them comments. Absolutely. And fair play to Anthony from Tommy McKenna and family as well. So I think it's basically more probably in support of Anthony than people against him, in fairness. And our winner of our €100 voucher, courtesy of the programme today, happy birthday to Moira Gorman, or it's Maria, I hope it's Moira Gorman, who's celebrating her birthday today. Please play Rod Stewart, who she's going to see next Tuesday night, and it's from a special friend. And we'll play this track, Rod Stewart, for you, Francie, and for Anthony as well, Mr. Riverstown. What is it?